All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Refined Life Podcast. I'm Big Vinny. Today I'm holding some old Kirk. Beam me up, Scotty. That's Captain to you.
Holding some hold what?
Old Kirk.
Okay.
Kirk. Could replace some letters. It'd be weird. But anyways, this is the Refined Life Podcast. We're here to have a good time. We might get deep. We might get swampy. You never know what's going to happen.
We might offend some people.
I love getting deep. I don't have the ability to very often, so let's go. But over here we got Jeff Suter. Now, you can recognize Jeff Suter from his days of being a Calvin Klein model, working for Playgirl, all kinds of things like that. And over here we have Jerry Blake. He used to be Blake Shelton's best friend, but then he only made the Final Four, didn't win The Voice. And then me, I'm a big loser, Big Vinny. So we're here today to talk to you about deep, swampy things. Beat me up, Scotty.
And this is what happens when you don't tell Vinny what the podcast is about today.
I have no clue what we're talking about. But I'm ready.
We're never going to get deep. I don't know how swampy we're going to get.
You ever been deep in a swamp? It's hard to get out, bro.
That is valid.
Yeah.
That is valid because this video is definitely going to a place that it's hard to get out of.
This is gonna be a doozy.
Yeah. So this video popped up and I sent it out to you guys. I know that Jeff watched it. I don't know if you did.
I did.
And I was kind of blown away. I have no credit to who this girl is. I don't know what she is, who she is, how she knows anything. If there's any credit to it. But I did find so many of the things that she said extremely valid. Now, when you hear this and you hear the topics we're talking about, whether you like it, disagree with it, agree with it, whatever, I don't really care. The reality is that it's kind of hard to not say that definitely might be happening right now.
Could be a thing.
That could be it. And I think that we've lost, and she's going to talk about this a little bit, like we've lost the ability in America for some reason to discuss something that none of us really know. And clearly when we're talking about the state of America and where it's going, we have no clue where it's going. So the fact that anyone can be like, this is what it is crazy to me. So
well, I just wanted to say before we go there is that she uses a really nice moisturizer. She's got nice skin.
She does, but it could be a filter though too.
It
could be a filter.
Could be bold glamour.
So
the hair tones are nice too.
If you are going to be offended by what we're saying, understand we're just people and just trying to understand the world, and we don't care. Yeah. Right. So check this out.
Boom.
I'm excited to see what this is because I really didn't watch it.
This is one of the best videos that I've came across on TikTok. Understand that this is not made up. Everything that she's saying
but you got to listen
really
going on.
The best way to gain control of the most intelligent, powerful species on the planet would be to completely divide them from the love within themselves. As soon as they are old enough to begin creating an understanding of who they are, force them into a system that teaches them that it is wrong to be yourself if yourself is different from what is accepted as normal. Confuse them about their own biological makeup so that they think that permanently altering their body is the answer to happiness.
That's the first one that really got me. You know, like I was following along and going, I'm here.
Did you see Vinny's face just then?
Yeah. I mean, so and I know this is a deep one. People are definitely going to be upset about this, but here's the deal. Like, I can't fully understand where we went from body positivity, right? Which you've experienced and know a lot about that, you know, like the people that you've dealt with.
Positively huge.
Right? But, you know, like the body positivity and, you know, accepting yourself, who you are, right? So we're in this lost spot right now. It's like, accept me for who I am, except I need to change everything about me.
Right.
Like, this is a weird spot to think that altering something is going to create happiness. I mean, so for my day and age, we didn't face this as much, but definitely, like, I know you can't tell it by looking at me now opposed to what people are doing. But, you know, when I started layering up with these tattoos and gauges in my ear, that wasn't a normal thing, you know, and there was a judgment that went along with it.
Right.
I've
seen it happen to you.
Yeah. You did it because you liked it. I by no means thought this is going to make me happy. Changing my body like this is going to make me, it's just something that I wanted to do.
Right.
You know, by no means do I think I could care less if you get hair plugs, a nose job, boob job, whatever you do. But I do not think it'll make you happy.
Right.
No more than buying a new car or getting something, going to a place you want to go eat. It's just something that you
can bring
have.
joy or happiness for a little while, but it doesn't create ultimate happiness.
Short-lived.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So my issue is that if I buy a wave runner and I go, this makes me happy, it will when I'm on it.
Yeah, but when it breaks.
Right, well, whatever the case may be. But I can get rid of that wave runner at any point that I want to. I start altering my body in the hopes that it's going to make me happy. I can't undo that. And so I am very confused. And anybody out there that gets pissed off at the statement, understand I'm confused. If someone could explain to me how body positivity turned into alter my body in order to be happy, I don't understand.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you go back, it started off with, I don't like the way my nose looks. This nose isn't satisfying to me. Now, obviously, we know there's medical reasons. Sometimes people get nose jobs.
For sure.
But, if they get breast augmentation, if they get different things. For me, when I come off Biggest Loser, I had a massive flap of skin that hung all the way around my entire body. And I got it removed. It brought me so much happiness because I no longer had that skin flopping around everywhere I walked, everything I did, all the clothes I wore and all that kind of stuff. Also, what made me really happy was that it wasn't rubbed raw every single day by the clothes I was wearing and the workouts I was doing. So there's medical reasons for me to do that. So I do understand a lot of people, they do have certain things happen. Obviously, we have women that get breast cancer and then they'll, get breast put in from that. So we do understand there are some positive things from that. But I think when you're looking at your identification and identity of yourself and you're like, man, if I could just get my nose to look better, if I could just get my eyes to look better, if I could change my sex, my actual, what do they call it? What's the proper word? Your
genitalia.
Genitalia, yeah. Say it like that.
I was expecting a much bigger word that you were searching for.
Well, I was trying to not say it in a bad way.
Yeah, I got that.
I didn't want to say get your dick chopped off, for instance.
But then he says it anyway.
I love it.
He does all this work to not say it, and then he's like, "Well, what I'm trying to say."
That's what y'all do. Y'all drive me to it. But I'm saying, like you're saying, I think there's reasons people want to do it, and I can't, for the life of me, get inside their head and find out what it is because I'm attached to mine, and it's attached to me, and I'd like to keep it that way. But thinking that it's going to make you ultimately happy or bring you this happiness, I think is a big misnomer of what people think can happen. Like, all of a sudden I'm going to change my sex and all my problems are going to change. There's just going to be different problems. And there might be a lot of the same problems that you thought were going to go away that ain't going to go nowhere.
And I think that's once again why I back things back up to a Christian standpoint for me personally, is that I can't find anything that gives me peace and leaves me with peace.
Yeah.
No matter what I do to alter my state in any way, whatever I buy, whatever I change on this earth, it's fleeting.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
Well, it's even with, like, I deal a lot with weight loss, right? We got clients and people are like, man, if I can just lose 20 pounds, I'll be happy.
And then this just 10 more.
But even when they get to their lowest weight, it's like, what's the next step then? Because what happens is like, I understand because I've lost 200 and something pounds on national television. So you're losing that weight, and when you can see it falling off every single week, it's like this motivation to keep going. But then when you hit a spot where it's like, man, nothing's moving. I'm not getting lighter. So then you don't think you're making progress, but your body really is making progress. Every day that you wake up and you do something good for yourself, eating proper foods, working out, walking, just going for a walk, spending that time, getting out in the sun, getting the vitamin D. Anytime you wake up and you do those things, you're doing positive for yourself, even if you don't see the weight change on the scale. But people would judge that happiness like you're saying. They'll be like, man, if I could just do 20 pounds, I'll be happy. It's like, no, it'll make you happy for a temporary time that you hit a goal, but then you're going to be like, hey, what's next? What do I do next? Where am I going now? So I get the setting of goals is a great thing, but when you're doing something that's going to be a lifetime, I always tell people, I say, make it a lifestyle, not a life sentence, because you're going to be doing it the rest of your life. I mean, he knows, he's seen me struggle up and down, back and forth, and for the most part, I've kept my weight off and I've done great, but I still battle that inner demon inside me that wants to go and eat pizza at 1 o'clock in the morning, and it always helps me. Like Jared helps me on the road because he'll be like, yeah, I probably don't need to go to the gas station right now and get protein bars, AKA candy bars.
So I think I'm not sure where the rest of the video is headed, but my issue with it and where it alluded to at the very beginning, how you control the smartest species
Right.
in the world, is it's not the 25-year-olds who decide one day I want to be a girl. It's the 10-year-olds who decide, you know what, I'm a boy, but I want to be a girl.
Yeah.
And I think that's where the problem truly comes in, and where they can truly take over the species, is to reach these kids at a very young age where they don't know any better.
Yeah.
They don't know any different.
Well, and also they haven't even reached their, their hormonal climax of what they're going to be.
Right.
They haven't went through
Yeah,
puberty.
they haven't went through
Some of them
puberty
might
yet.
have started.
Well, I mean,
but
it's still a weird thing to me to think that we're thinking
their
about those sort of
testosterone, their
things, but we're
estrogen.
like, you're not developed enough to have a glass of wine or a beer,
Yeah.
or
A
smoke
tattoo.
a cigarette or get a tattoo.
Yeah.
You can't do that, but you can start thinking about life-altering decisions. I'm just very confused.
And the way they're doing that is very, it's happening through the schools. I've witnessed it, and I'm sure we'll get into it, but it doesn't happen by saying you're supposed to be a girl.
Yeah.
Right. It's by putting out there, you can be whatever you want to be. But then there's that undertone of, you could be a girl. You could be a dog. You could be a cat. I mean, I can't remember if we talked about this or not, but it's a real thing in schools where kids show up to school as babies. They drink out of bottles.
Dogs.
They show up as dogs.
Yeah.
They show up as cats. And it's accepted, right? If my child shows up with a sweatshirt that's not long enough to cover her ass, she gets in trouble. But the kid that shows up as a dog and barks in the middle of class instead of speaking.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, I had to go
okay.
up and bring shirts to my kid because they were wearing a shirt that came down a little too much, like it would just looser up there, and it kept showing her bra strap.
Yeah.
And I had to bring another shirt to school.
How long ago was that?
That was like 3-4 years ago.
Yeah, we changing.
So it's
Pre-COVID.
Yeah, but he's saying it's now though.
No, I know it. No, I mean, it was starting to happen then. I mean, I remember when I was in school, I was so excited because Alan Kowicki was my favorite NASCAR driver before. Well, Darren Hart was my favorite, but Alan Kowicki was a close second. He drove the Hooters car, and I liked him because he drove the Hooters car. So my Uncle Richie took me to Hooters and got me a shirt whenever I was in 7th grade, and I wore that shirt to school. And I literally had to turn it inside out. But then when you turn it inside out, you could still see it. So they had to call and have I guess it would have been my stepmom bring me a whole nother shirt to wear because I wasn't supposed to be wearing that shirt because it had an owl with Hooters.
But if you want to be a boy and you're naturally a girl, that's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. God forbid you talk about Hooters, though.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's asinine.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
Should we go on?
Well, I just want to touch base on that more. My son had a book fair yesterday, and we gave him, I think they suggested $30, which I was like, holy crap.
Preach.
Suggested $30. I'm like, we used to get a pack of stickers for 25 cents. I'm old. Anyways, so he gets him a book, and of course he loves A Nightmare Before Christmas, so he gets this Nightmare Before Christmas book, which I kind of stay on the fence about. I think the movie is cool. I just think he's a little too young for it still, but he's loved it since he was a kid. So whatever. He gets the Nightmare Before Christmas. Well, then he gets the sister book, and it was about a unicorn. And this unicorn is unique, and this unicorn is special, and there's all these little
unicorn.
Yeah. But there's all these little entendres in there to be like, everybody's okay, and everybody can be whatever they want, and that same thing's in there. So we didn't know. He buys the book. I don't
tell me a unicorn cuts off the horn and just becomes a horse.
Yep, becomes a horse. Yep. So he's no longer a unicorn. He's no longer special. I don't know. Anyways. But no, what I'm saying is it's like, just like you said, they try to sneak it in there and little things like that. Now, I am perfectly fine with being like, yes, everybody's unique. Everybody's different. Everybody has their own characteristics and traits and things like that. And looking at the book, it's like, it's hard to tell because we're on such a high alert now because obviously we've seen stuff. It might just be literally this, unicorn book that's letting you know that, hey, everybody is unique and special. Or it might be trying to slowly creep in just a little bit here and a little bit there and a little bit. Because you can't go in there and change an entire nation by saying, hey, this is what we're doing now, like you said a while ago.
Yeah.
It's got to slowly be introduced. The perversion of America had to slowly, like the cancellation of the family where the mom and the dad, and the dad goes to work and the mom's at home with the kids, and there's a homemaker and there's a breadwinner. Like all those things got told like that's wrong and that's not good and that's bad. I don't think that anybody should not go out there and have a job and have a profession if you want to do it. Now you have to, because you got to have a 2-income household.
Facts.
But I think they slowly deteriorated that and made women feel like, well, you're being seen as less than the man because he's out there working and you're just sitting at home with the kids. You're expected to do this or that. And I really wish that if we lived in a society where you could have a single income household, that part of it was great because the kids were going to get taken care of the way they were. They're going to have dad come home and love them and understand that he was a provider. I do think there was a part of it where the dad missed a lot more.
Yeah, for sure. But I think you probably still could now, but we've changed the rules on everything.
Yeah.
I mean, like, my family was like that for a long time, but my dad also didn't do anything when he got home because he didn't get home until really late.
Yeah.
He was gone before I got up to go to school.
Butt off all day long.
And he was coming home at the time that I was getting ready for bed.
Yeah.
That was a regular basis. So there was also different expectations where my dad put in 12 to 15, 16 hours a day a lot, you know, that, and now we're telling dad, well, you got to do this and yes, you're equal time on this and this. And so it's changing the whole dynamic. And man, I could care less what you do. If you stay at home, if you go to work, I don't care. But I think time for time, you just got to stop and look at it, you know? And that's that discussion that, I mean, I'm fortunate my wife gets a lot of that. All of us are very fortunate in that. But there's been so many times we've had those sort of discussions, too, of like, I don't know what it feels like to be the woman in that position. I know as a guy what it feels like. When I hear my wife talking about wanting something, or going on a vacation, or some new shoes, or whatever it is that she's talking about she's wanting, I automatically, if I can't provide that, I want to make enough that I provide that. And I feel bad about myself that I'm not providing to that level. Now, I don't know if she does that with me. I kind of doubt it. But what I do know is if I say anything about cleaning up a little more than I normally do, it hits a touchy spot for her. And so I can see that there is something in her personally, not every woman, but in my wife, that takes it a little bit personally.
She feels like the
feels
homemaker.
like she didn't take care of the home enough. And there's months that she makes a lot more money than I do. And it's a little bit of a sensitive spot for me. You know, it's like they're within my relationship, there definitely is that line that society has blurred for us that, you know,
well, I mean, it's become so expensive to live. And obviously, you can always live lower than you live, right? You could always get a smaller house. You could get different things. But you build this stuff, and you know, you've been blessed in a market where you were able to buy some of these houses when they were $200,000. Now they're worth $600,000, you know? So that's been awesome, and that was a great investment on your part. But I think we live in a world now, especially, you know, in America and in the nicer parts of you got to have two people out there making an income unless one of the people has a job like what our buddy was saying on the last episode about, you know, that makes $500,000+. I mean, honestly, like me and my wife together, you know, we got to make, you know, to live the way we live, we got to make at least $150,000, and we drive 10-year-old vehicles. We don't live lavishly. We don't do over the top stuff. We don't go on massive vacations. We go and have a good time, and we take our kids and we do great things. We create experiences, but we're not going to Bora Bora and staying in the huts, you know, like one of your dream vacations for, you know, 2 weeks at a time and all that kind of stuff. But even just right now, like if me and my wife want to go on a date, we know it's going to cost us $100 minimum for the babysitter.
That's right.
Which used to be $25 or $20 for the entire night. But, you know, we pay $20 an hour. It's going to take you about 5 hours to go on a regular date where you figure out, you know, hey, we're going to drive up here. We're going to go to this restaurant we like. We're going to sit. We're going to talk for a little while. We're going to eat. We're going to enjoy ourselves. Might go do something, get a massage or something like that. We'll throw that back out there.
You don't want to talk about that. That's
but I'm saying it's like, but if we do go on a date and we do that kind of stuff, we already know before we leave the house it's $100. Then the cost of the date. So by the time you get back, you spent $250 on a pretty regular basic date. You know.
Yeah.
And so I just think we're at that part where it's like, what gives, you know, from us in the world. And I think that what they're talking about in the brainwashing, we are destined, we're programmed to believe, oh, we got to have the nicer thing. We got to keep up with the Joneses.
Well, not even just the nicer thing. In this element, we're just talking about just different period. We just need something else to feel whole.
To fulfill, you
know, and that's why I go back to like the only thing that I find that fills me is Jesus.
That's it.
That's the only thing that I can find.
Yeah.
Should we go on? If we talk this long about every single subject, we ain't
well, it's not that long left. There's only 1 minute and 31 seconds total. We're
with 18 different subjects.
We're a fourth of the way through.
Require their daily attendance at an institution that makes them focus only on the information that is provided. Make them attend that institution from age 5 until an adult and repeatedly test them on the information so that it becomes their truth. Give them an explanation.
Like that one got me because like I never really questioned what we're being taught in the sense of like, you could teach me if you teach me something every day.
Yeah.
From 5 years of age to 18, then I just believe that.
Yeah.
And I saw, I think it was Rob Schneider that brought up, he was like, I think he's about 56, 58, somewhere in there. And he said, he was on a podcast and he said, does anybody remember civics? And no one said anything. Do you guys remember what I'm talking about? No, I remember my brother taking civics, but he's 52, 53. Mm-hmm. And they didn't have it when we got to high school. Civics was a course that was teaching you about our government and how it runs.
Oh, yeah.
All the branches, how they work together, all that kind of stuff. Think about why in the world would that have been taken out?
Yeah.
Why did you stop teaching us about our Constitution and our government and how it runs?
I mean, I think we covered on a brief basis, we cover that during, history, but you don't go into detail to know, like, I just remember who was.
Yeah, but think about all the things that we're told over and over again.
Yeah,
you were tested on your government like one time, and you were like, "What's
more important, how the government works, or being able to name all the presidents?"
Was it judicial, legislative, and
right?
Judicial, legislative. I don't remember the
right.
What are the three parts of government?
Yeah, I don't remember either.
Yeah, don't test us on this. I don't. I stay out of politics as much as I can, but
Mm-hmm. I don't know. We need to talk about that much, but unless you got something.
No, but I think what that is, what we don't know now is like, I think when I went to school, I mean, when we got in there, we pretty much learned math. And obviously, my English was phenomenal. But we learned math, reading, English, whatever. You learn those basic subjects to get through. But we had home economics where we learned how to cook. We learned how to, I had shop class.
Well, most people didn't learn how to cook, but.
Well, yeah, I did. I love cooking. As you could tell, I got to 500 pounds. I had to like cooking. But we had shop class. We learned how to weld. We learned how to use a sander. We learned how to, those things were there. I don't even know if they do those things still. I'm sure some schools do. But I do think that we should look at the curriculum that we give the kids in school, because now it's like they're wanting to come in and teach these things about, history the way you know it ain't the way it is. And this is that. And this, all these different things are different than they were. And now we got to change the way you do your math. But it's not always correct, but sometimes it's correct. Most of the time it's correct, but then sometimes it's not. Those things bother me. Whereas I'm like, teaching them, wanting to come in and teach my third grader anything about anything sexual, anything about, getting a sex change or any of that stuff. That shouldn't be taught about that. It shouldn't even be talked about in front of them.
Well, more than that, like that, and I know people go, well, they feel like they can't talk to the parent or what. I can't help that. But that's a parent's job.
That's a parent's job.
Yeah. That is 100% a parent's job.
Your job as a teacher.
And if you want the world to get better about that, then teach parents.
Yeah.
I think it's fair to say that the government is controlling what our kids are learning.
Yeah.
They're deciding what history they want to be taught.
Yeah.
What facts they want to be taught. So rather than the kids getting the whole truth, they're getting the truth.
I don't want to go too far down the rabbit hole, but I think it's deeper than that. It's like, I will, have people say, I researched that. I'm like, oh, you did? I was like,
yeah, right.
How'd you research it? Well, I went on the internet and I Googled it. I'm like, okay, you probably looked for whatever identified with the way that you wanted to believe that subject, whether it comes to, getting the vaccination or not. Like, you say you researched it, but you didn't biochemically go in and diagnose and look at all this.
Now, I'm on the other hand of the guy that doesn't believe anything, because I go, this is what I think it is. And then when I find it say what I think it is, I'm like, what else does it say? Yeah. I start looking for the article that says that I'm wrong. Yeah. And then by the end of it, now I've seen 8 articles that said I'm right and 8 articles that said I'm wrong. And I'm like, well, I don't know. I'm going to go back over here and build this castle I was building. I'm going to cook a steak.
But that's what I'm saying. It's like, people, what's the song? When they control the information, man, they can change it all they want. John Mayer, I think it was, When they control the information,
we've been singing about what
want.
we're going through right now. We've been singing about that for years, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, and so I know that they always talk about like every generation is like, oh man, this generation. But it is, bro. It's every generation. Yeah. I mean, when I look back on like, I remember walking past a Tasty Freeze or something like that, and my grandma going, I asked to get ice cream, and she was like, well, we'll go get you some, but that's not ice cream. Back when I was your age, and she was telling me about the ice cream. But the reality was she was right. What she had was better ice cream than what I was getting.
Yeah.
It's just, that's the way it is. And so many of these things that are changing, they're not for the better. They're for quicker.
Well,
you get them quick, but dude,
instant gratification.
But dude, the idea, like if you think about what would you rather have as a memory? Getting that ice cream really, really quick because it came out of that machine instantly, and then getting to sit on your phone longer?
Yeah.
Or sitting there with my grandmother waiting on that guy to put together that sundae and making it back there as a 5-year-old kid. What's better?
Yeah.
What am I going to remember? Am I going to remember, like, look at my phone, all right?
You know what? I remember this.
I want that hot fudge.
I wasn't a hot fudge guy, but I remember this, like with my granny, go on there, you get that hand-dipped ice cream, and I remember watching, they always had the hot water, the little scoopers would sit in hot water so they could cut through it real quick. And my granny would always, when we'd have ice cream at the house, and she'd have that big tub of real ice cream that you had to dip out. Literally, before she'd start anything, she'd boil water, put the scoop inside the bowl, on the boiled water, and then whenever she got ready to get in there and get it, she had one, I'll never forget, had an orange handle and had that little thing on it, and then the end was, of course, metal, but it just had the little scoop thing in there that would clear out the ice cream, and she'd come over and she'd dip it in and it'd scoop it right out because it cut right through it because it's hot. So I just always remember that. So when you talk about the memories of that, I never thought about that memory until right now. So it made me feel good.
Yeah, but I mean, those are those sort of memories, and I do question
now,
with like
Granny goes,
right,
yeah,
it's a completely different thing. While the kid is like this on his phone, just like the whole time,
Yeah.
Anyway.
Give them an explanation to everything so that they never have a chance to make their own assumptions of the world. Scold them and humiliate them if they suggest an opinion that opposes that of their authorities. Keep reminding them.
You said, so I'm curious. Did you have something? Because this next one's a big one.
Well, I just think it's a problem in general where it's kind of the way we had to open this whole podcast, right? Which was we had to preface, we don't know.
Yeah.
This is just opinions, and we're just diving in. And if you disagree, that doesn't make us bad people.
But the thing that caught me.
But you're being taught if you have an opinion that's not with the agenda,
right?
You can't even speak on it.
Now, are we not watching that right now?
Oh,
and I'll give you more on it. So are we not watching that right now? And for all of those who go, well, it's about time that we changed. Okay, yeah, I agree with you. Because the reality is before what was going on in the 90s, 80s, 70s, 60s, there was always some sort of agenda that we were being taught.
Yeah.
There was a moment in time that we were being taught that black people weren't as good as us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was before
But that wasn't just people running around. That was our government, man. That was our land. They were teaching that. Right. They were separating them in schools.
Yeah, segregation.
Right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, so clearly.
Water fountains. You can't even drink
Clearly, we
fountain.
understand now that that's completely wrong, right?
Yeah.
But it still happened. And when we look through all the other people that we abused, and I mean, so these groups that are getting upset, you get it because, look at how much we bashed on gays for years and years and years. The Christian society on a whole just destroyed them, Yeah. And that wasn't love. That wasn't what Christ did. When Christ was visiting the hooker at the well, he sure wasn't thinking man, I hope they talk shit to those gays when they show up. You know what I mean? That's not how that was, But with every generation, we are being taught some sort of agenda.
I think they like to be called homosexuals, not the gays.
Well, I mean,
I just been politically correct with it.
Is it politically correct?
I don't know.
I don't know what it is anymore.
I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, you can call me the straights. I don't care.
I think it's LGBTQIA plus.
Is that
say that 3 times fast?
LGBTQIA plus.
Yeah, I
don't know what the plus is, but whatever.
I feel like a lot of them aren't in favor of the plus from what I've heard, but that's a whole different subject.
Yeah, that's another subject.
Anyway, so the every generation has had an agenda, though.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
And we very much got one now. And if you are not in line with whatever the bulk of society, and at this point, I don't even know if it's the bulk of society or if it's just media saying this is what we believe now. But if you go against that,
I can even take it to this. This is a small thing, but like right now, you know, the Titans, Tannehill's out. You know, isn't got a ankle sprain, probably going to miss 2 to 4 weeks, 5 weeks, whatever. And so we have these 2 young quarterbacks. We have Malik Willis and Will Levis, you know, which is funny that their names are almost like reverse of each other. One's black, one's white. So you get on the page and you got, if anybody says, hey, I'd like to see Will Levis have a try, then somebody coming, oh, it's just because you're racist and you want, you know, to see the white quarterback over the black quarterback. And then today, it was just funny because it literally happened today, but I was reading through some of these comments and I don't comment on them. I'm like, you know, I don't care. I just want us to win. I don't care who the quarterback is. I don't care if they put Derrick Henry back there and he takes every snap and we don't even have a quarterback. I don't care. We can run Wildcat every day. I just want to win the game. So I don't really have an opinion on it, but I was reading today and this guy didn't have a picture of himself inside his thing. And he said all the reasons why he thought Will Levis would be a better pick than Malik Willis. And the very next comment was, that's just because you're a racist, blah, blah, blah. And this just hammers on him. And then the next one, he posts a picture of himself. He goes, man, I've been black for 71 years. And it was just like, he goes, I just think that we've already seen what Malik Willis can do for several, you know, games that he's had a chance to. He goes, I was a fan of Will Levis whenever he was at Kentucky. I'd love to see him get a shot and see what he does in the NFL now that he's got his eyes fixed and all this other stuff.
Well, we drafted him for a reason.
Yeah, I mean, and he was, you know, a second round, which they tried to move up to first round for him. But I'm just saying, you're so divided that you're like, you're going to jump to that conclusion.
Yeah, so hang on just a second because you're headed right where they're going.
Oh.
Keep reminding them of how cruel their ancestors were to each other in the past and broadcast how cruel they are to each other in the present. Only show them tragedies on the news so that they live in fear and think the worst of one another.
Is that not headed right where you're talking?
Yeah, no, it is. And I think that I have so many friends from all different walks of life, all different religions, races, sexual orientations, all this other stuff. And I've even been pigeonholed into thinking, well, you're just, you know, a country redneck. You probably didn't used to like gay people. I was like, I've never had a problem with gay people. I love gay people. I got gay friends. I got people that I watch on TV that I think are hilarious, that I enjoy their comedy. Doesn't bother me what they do in their bedroom on their spare time. That's on them.
It's none of my business.
Doesn't matter. But as a Christian, if you ask me if I think it's a sin, I'll say yeah. But I also think my buddy that sleeps with 15 different women every single month is a sin. So I'm not going to judge somebody because they sin differently than other people. I have my own sins. So I'm not sitting there casting judgment on it. But if you're going to ask me if I believe what the Bible says, then my answer is yes. You know, but I'm not going to sit there and argue with you and hate you because you believe differently than me or because we don't see eye to eye on one subject.
And why is that? Because the biggest principle that I see in the Bible was love.
Yeah, it was it.
I'm supposed to love everyone.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, you know, which I never know. It always baffles me, like when you say, you know, you walk down the street the other day and there's a guy out there saying, you're going to burn in hell for eternity because you got a tattoo on your, you know, arm. I'm like, I'm pretty sure in the Bible it said something about judge not yet you be judged.
Dude, that one was crazy. So that was my daughter's boyfriend. That was down at Oktoberfest downtown, and apparently it was one of those psycho Christian groups down there.
Oh, the ones that had the microphones and
yeah, and they were like, are you a Baptist? And he goes, no, I was raised Catholic. And he goes, what about you? Are you a Baptist? And the friend was like, yeah, I'm a Baptist. And he was like, you're both going to hell. And he was like, whoa, like, I'm not sure what's happening. He's like all Baptists are going to hell? And he was like, yes, every Baptist is going to hell. Every Catholic is going to hell. You're all sinners. And he's like, I'm not even sure where this is going. Like this,
I just paid my tithes. I felt like I was doing pretty good. But dude, I turned down that prostitute the other night.
I don't know what that group that was down there were, but yeah, they were just hating.
I ran into
everybody.
Him before. We were walking through one time.
That's one of the. He goes, I feel like that hate is in the Bible as a sin, is it not? And they were like, nope, it's not in there. And he's like, I'm pretty sure it says to love everybody. He's like, nope, it doesn't say that either.
It doesn't say love thy neighbor as thyself. I don't know, it's in there somewhere. But you know, all that to be said is like, and what she said is they constantly play all this stuff that happened 200 years ago, even if it was 50, 60 years ago. To me, it's like as we're trying to move forward and we're trying to get past the things, if you go far enough back, every different culture has been victims of slavery at some point. They've been hated for one thing or the other, whether it was their color, was their religion, or the things they were doing. I mean, people have been persecuted for all different kinds of things. And it sucks. And I think that you can't really forget the past, but you learn from it and move forward. I think at some point, only white men were allowed to vote in America, right? Then women got the right to vote. Then all of a sudden, it was black folks. It was this. Now, gay marriage. It was all these things. At some point, the majority of us made a choice, made a vote to make sure that got changed. And we looked at it and
it
said,
wouldn't be that way anymore.
Yeah. And so it had to start with an event. At some point, all the white men had to get together and say, this ain't right. Now obviously there was people that, the people out there that didn't want to make that vote, but they lost to the majority and it became law.
So I'm sure someone out there would argue hardcore against what I'm about to say about this comparison. I might be wrong on it. Just curious what you think. You were beaten as a child.
Every day.
You were beaten as a child. That doesn't seem like a very fair way to be entered into this world. Doesn't seem like you had a big leg up. You were poor, right?
Well, I mean, there was money there, but you couldn't spend it.
But it was drug money. So you couldn't. Anyway, you're poor and beaten every day. That seems like you definitely didn't have a leg up in getting into this world. Are we going to keep talking about that? Are you going to keep talking to me about how Jeff has it better because he didn't have that? Or do you, just like the last podcast we did, or do you enter that idea of going, no, I'm going to center myself around 5 other people that are kicking ass at life. I'm going to center myself around those people, and I'm going to move forward. Because I know for certain that you look at our NFL, our NBA, those were people that they thrived. They worked their asses off, Yeah. And some of them were born into sport families, by the way. Like some of those guys still were born very different in a very different life than we were.
Some of them are Deion Sanders' son. He's prime time too.
Now I do understand there are things going on out there that are not going on in my little circle.
Right, absolutely.
So that's hard for me to say, what's happening in this town of 2,000 people.
Well,
in Kentucky, I can't tell you what's happening there.
Yeah.
What I can tell you though is that if I thought that I was being held back for being in this area, I'd find a way to get out of that area. I've been in positions in life where I wasn't.
It's just like when we go and speak at schools, and kind of the way I speak, what I always try to talk to the kids is, don't be a victim of your own circumstance. And even worse than being a victim of your own circumstance is continuing to be a victim of your parents' circumstance or your grandparents' circumstance. So everybody's born with whatever life they're born into, whatever color they're born, whatever religion they're taught, at a young age. They're probably going to believe whatever grandma and grandpa said, whatever mom and dad said. Maybe it changes when they get older, but you're taught on these certain morals, and then you live your life and you learn, I was raised very harshly. I had a bad stepdad who was cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, and we didn't even get Cocoa Puffs. We got the off-brand Cocoa Puffs, whatever they were called, Cocoa O's, Cocoa O's, whatever they were. But anyways, but we did get Cookie Crisp though. But one of the things that hit me is when I was on Biggest Loser, Dole Vett was my coach, and we become just the best of friends. I love this guy. Like, I would fight to the death for him. Like, I love him, and he's helped me save my life. I'm gonna get emotional. Not that don't happen every now and then, but I had heard so many people my whole life talk about white privilege, white privilege, white privilege, and I was like, dude, it really bugs me. I'm talking to this guy directly. He's a black dude. I think he was 37, 38 at the time on the show, and I was 27, 28. I was like, I can't stand that, because I'm like, what are they talking about? Like, dude, I got my butt kicked every single day. I grew up in the middle of the woods in a trailer, like, I don't know what white privilege are talking about.
As a fat kid.
As a fat kid that was having to haul hay every day, pick squash and zucchini and corn. And, I worked on a farm. I literally worked out in the fields doing this stuff. There was nobody else around except for the Amish people up the road, and about 0.2 of a mile, quarter mile, whatever it was up the road. I had neighbors, Danny and Steven, whatever. They worked their butts off too. We grew up similar. They had a loving, great family, but didn't go through the beating type of stuff I went through. But so I was like, it really bugs me that people keep saying white privilege, because that's not a thing. It's either you're privileged or you're not privileged. And he goes, I understand that, Vinny. He goes, and your life sucked. He goes, and honestly, he goes, I was adopted by a white family that took me in and taught me a lot of great things. And, he said, now, one of them, the guys was rough on me. He goes, I went through a lot of the same things you went through. He's like, and so I understand where you're coming from. He goes, and I want you to know that people do overuse that. He goes, in the black community, we overuse that. He goes, I've probably been guilty of it myself. He goes, what white privilege means is that everybody's born with different hurdles they got to get over in life. You know what I mean? But your skin color wasn't one of them for you.
Right.
And I was like, dude, if somebody would have just said that to me 10 years ago, whenever I was trying to figure out, like, what are you talking about?
Right.
It would have made all the sense in the world to me. So it was like, yeah, we're not saying your life wasn't just as hard. It's just that one of your hurdles wasn't your skin color. Now,
Interesting.
Take a guy like Butter, for example. Butter grew up in Cleveland, Ohio. He was one of very few 5'5", redheaded white kids in a pretty much all black school up in Cleveland, or Ashtabula, whatever. He grew up very different. He was the minority. So he got picked on. He got made fun of. He had all this stuff happen to him. So he grew up way different than me because I think I don't even know that we had a black boy in high school when I was in high school. We had 2 black girls and I think we had one mixed kid named Jacoby. And he was a great football player, one of our buddies. But we just I didn't grow up with that. So it was like I never was around the culture, never was around that thing. We had a few black folks in town. I was friends with most of them. I got a buddy named Rod Vaughn I've been friends with for my whole life, and we've never had a crossword with each other, even though I grew up in the handy-dandy South, in Perry County, Tennessee. We've always been great friends. But I've been stereotyped in other places that I went for being, oh, you're this white guy and you talk Southern and you wear overalls, And I've been judged that way by people that thought I would be bad news because I was that, and I've been judged that way by people that's like, yeah, man, the South's going to rise again. I'm like, I'm not with you, bro. I'm just trying to keep my family fed and trying to pay my bills and trying to have a good life.
You want to see a crowd that's judging Vinny? Go to any sort of nightclub setting with him after a show, and he walks in those overalls.
Oh yeah, it's fun.
Ooh, the looks around that room.
Yeah.
Some people hate him immediately, and other people are just like, I don't understand. What's he doing here? What's about to happen?
Breakdancing. But
right, and then he breakdances.
But I thought it was. I think one of the things that could really help, and why this video is great, I love a lot of the stuff it's saying is, we got to stop letting the media tell us what we think about each other.
Mm-hmm.
We got to stop letting the news tell us how we feel, because that's not the truth. Most of us love everybody. We want to go out and have a great day. We want to earn for our family. I never once woke up ever in my life and thought, I hope that person over there, because they're a different whatever than me, hope they have a terrible day. I hope their family don't eat today. And I've never woke up. Now, there are people that wake up with that hate. So I'm not saying it don't exist. Right. Prejudice exists in this world. I've seen it. It's ugly, and I don't like it.
Yeah, there's bad people.
But there's
bad people all over the place.
Most people are good. Like Luke Bryan said, most people are good. I'm not saying that we don't have flaws. Everybody has flaws. But most people are not waking up on a daily basis thinking, how can I ruin somebody else's life? They're waking up saying, how can I increase my life? How can I make sure my family's taken care of? And then people that ain't waking up and doing that, they're probably the ones that are in a pretty lonely hole that are
But I also wonder, though, the people who aren't doing that, are we keeping some of this negativity alive just because we're shining light on them? You know what I mean? Like if someone does me wrong,
yeah,
okay, and then I decide to tell the world about it, that person gets found out about by everyone else who agrees with their idiotic decisions.
Yeah.
But if I just go, that's a loser, we're not going to discuss that anymore, I'm going to move on. How much are we stringing problems along by giving attention to the people that are doing wrong?
Yeah.
No, I think there's something to be said about that for sure.
If you're getting more popular because you did something bad, what are we teaching our youth?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it leads back. I think I may have talked about it once before, but I watched this TikTok video where a tiger and a jackass have an argument. The tiger says the sky is green. Or no, the jackass says the sky is green, and the tiger says the sky is blue. Like, no, it's not. It's green. They argue about it. They go to the lion, who's the king of the jungle. It's like, hey, we have an argument. Can you settle this for us? The tiger says, I said that the sky is blue, but this jackass says that the sky is green. And he's like, yes, the sky is green. And the jackass runs off and says, see, I told you. And he runs off into the sunset. And the tiger looks at the lion and says, bro, why would you say that? Like, what is wrong with you? Like, the sky's blue. He goes, yeah, the sky is blue. He goes, but he banned him off into the wilderness by himself for however many days. He's like, why am I getting in trouble? He goes, it's not that you were wrong. It's that you were arguing with a jackass. And I thought that was a pretty good point. Like, how many times are we spending so much time arguing with the jackass? You're never going to convince them that they're wrong. And even if they found out they were wrong, they would still tell you that they were right. So the best thing we can do is like, cool, man. And then we got to go on and make positive changes in the world and do great things for our, for our families, for our friends, for our generations that are going to be coming behind us. And, the only way, in my opinion, to change prejudice and things like that is you got to start with our kids now. Like, hey, you got to love everybody. You got to care about everybody. Doesn't matter if they're a different color than you. Doesn't matter if they're a different sexual orientation or whatever their religion. You can still love that person, even though you don't agree with them on everything that they do or they don't do.
That's one thing that I can say and I think you guys will say this about your kids as well. My kids love everybody, but I didn't have to teach them, hey, love everybody, even if they're different, even if they're this, I didn't bring up anything about anyone. I was like, everyone is a human being.
Yeah.
You treat them as so. The end. Hey, I do want to point out that you like,
pedophiles.
Hey man, she's only going to speak for another minute and 55 seconds or whatever. We got 15 minutes left of this podcast, and we still got a minute 31 left of her speaking.
But Tom loves us, so let us go over by 10.
All right, let's see what she's got to say.
Convince them that their species used to be that of an incognizant wild animal. Make them think that their very existence is so incredibly random that they lack purpose and struggle to make sense of a creator. Tell them that their kind is as smart as they've ever been so that they don't question the integrity of the system that they're in.
Convince them that they're as smart as they've ever been so they don't question
the system that they're in.
But you're also talking about so that they have no need for a creator.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, there was so much heaviness in that.
Huge. That's deep.
That leads me to literally, I was going to make this point earlier, but back to the schools and things like that, and they make the information so readily available. So many people don't believe in God now, or at least they say they don't. They don't believe in a creator. They don't believe in anything. They just think, you come from, the world and you somehow magically appeared and grew from an amoeba or whatever they think, or transformed from a gorilla, and the gorilla came from the amoeba or apes or whatever they think. And one of the biggest things I think that the reason it adds to the suicide and all this is because people lack purpose. So,
and that's one of the things they brought up, right?
Yeah. So money becomes your purpose for a while, but then when you have enough money, then what's your purpose?
Right.
And then you realize that you only get 75, maybe 80 to 100 at most years on this planet if you are lucky, because a lot of people, my dad died at 43. Was in great health, just had a freak accident. So you don't know if you're promised tomorrow. Every day you should wake up every day and be like, dude, I got the chance of a lifetime, because it might be the last day that you ever wake up. So I try to live like that. Not that I don't have bad days, but I try to remind myself, like, dude, you woke up today. You're already ahead of the game.
To win.
Well, I mean, you talk about the purpose too.
But it takes away the purpose, and that's what I was saying, is it takes away the purpose of like, well, if there's nothing after this, then why does it matter?
Dude, if I didn't feel like I had a purpose, I'd go freaking nuts.
Yeah.
I mean, you're still talking about a guy that's been through rehab twice and one psych ward. Like, if I don't have something in my life
there's another psych
that I
ward in your future
believe,
somewhere,
that I believe wholeheartedly, this is what I'm here to do, I will go freaking nuts over it. And for me, a lot of days that I'm waking up now, at least, it's that I feel that we're teaching so many things in society right now and accepting so much and talking about so much, except for truly just love.
Yeah.
Because it seems like our love is still kind of jaded, where like, I love you, but you need to think the way I do. And this is the new way of thinking now. And you need to adopt that, and I'll love you. And then but if you disagree with me, then I don't love you anymore, which is really backward. That's not love. I think this is a conditional thing.
I think there can be a slope on that too that can lead us in a bad direction, because of course it's like, if you're a consenting male and you want to be with another consenting male, if you're adult, but when it comes to certain things like pedophilia, I don't care in what jacked up world you think it's okay for you to sleep with a 9-year-old.
We get into a different thing though here.
I'm not for it.
Because the Bible is very much loving everyone.
Yeah.
There's still consequences though.
Oh, yeah.
There's still consequences to actions. That's just the way that he is. I mean, like, so God loves everyone, and we're told to love everyone.
Yeah.
So even that pedophile, you're to love that pedophile. That doesn't mean that pedophile doesn't have consequences to those actions. I mean, you love me, but if I get into a car wreck and I get drunk and I get in a car wreck and I kill someone, I still need to go to jail.
Yeah.
That's just the way that goes.
I think that's one of the things that's like, we could sit here and talk about a million different scenarios with this, but me as your best friend, guy that you hang out with more than anybody else, we talk on the phone, I mean, many times.
Never anymore, really.
Well, he works all the time. I mean, I'm working too, but on different stuff. He's like physically swinging a hammer.
It doesn't matter. I call you, you don't pick up. You call me, I don't pick up.
I know. We call it the wrong times. We play phone tag a lot. He's really good at tag. He gets away every time. But I'm saying.
Hey, guys, I answer the phone.
You do?
You do?
No, you don't. You have an assistant that answers your phone sometimes.
No, I still have an assistant, but I've unforwarded the phone.
Oh.
Jared called me today. Who answered, Jared?
You did.
Usually when I call, I get this girl, I'm like, is this?
I assume that I only got her whenever you were in a meeting.
So my phone, it just stays forwarded until about a week ago. I decided to unforward it, and I now answer my own phone calls.
Yeah. Well, what I was saying is because
I didn't know you were so important that you weren't answering phone calls.
Sounds a little
because you're my friend.
I did have this guy that he sits beside me and answers the phone for me, but now I carry my own umbrella.
Yeah. Oh, dang. Look at this. I talk on the
town. I even feed myself these days.
You know what I did the other day? I had to do. I had to pump my own soap at the airport. You know how usually now you just put your hand under there.
Yeah,
dude.
There was a button.
There was a pump.
The Nashville airport pisses me
not
off.
At the ass Nashville.
The blow dryers?
Yeah. I thought it was a sink. I kept trying to get water out of it.
Oh, dude.
But
anyway,
I'm saying this. What I'm saying was, I am okay with looking at you as my friend, that if you do something that is terrible, I'm okay with you suffering the consequences from it. Even though I still love you.
Absolutely.
I'm okay. It's like, hey, you killed somebody. You got to go to jail.
That's biblical.
And it means I'll come visit you in jail and tell you, man, I hate that you did this, but I love you, and I believe God has redemption for you. I don't know. Well, I know 100%. I don't have that. I don't have it in my heart for a pedophile. Somebody rapes a baby or does something to a little kid.
But once again, that's still.
I'm trying my best to like love everybody, but then there's just this fine line that I'm like, you know.
Yeah, I'm not saying how you do. I'm just stating that that's what the Bible says we are to do.
Yeah.
Whether you do it or not, that's a totally different thing. But there are consequences to that. You know, for example, there are certain things that you do that I can forgive you for and love you still. Yeah. But you're no longer allowed around my family. You're not going to hang out in my house. There's just certain lines that you cross that I go, there's also dad protection mode that kicks in that I go, hey, you did this once. I hope you don't do it again. I hope you have a nice life over there, but you're not going to get the chance to do it over here.
Yeah, and that goes back to the forgiveness. Like you can forgive and still say, I still don't need you in my life.
Distance goes back to that.
Dude, I mean, like it's just,
there's
it's also
7 billion people on the planet. Go find you some new people.
Yeah. Some things are just common sense. You know, Corey, the experience brings this up every once in a while. Like there's certain things that you're not being prejudiced in any way. But if I'm walking down the street, if I'm in Sturgis, right, and you got a bunch of bikers everywhere, and they all pretty much look the same, then every once in a while, you hit that one group, and you're like, yeah, I'm not going to walk over there. I'm going to convert and go over here. Yeah. There is an element that you see that you go, no, this is just me protecting myself and protecting my family. You know, like there's just, and certain things like you've watched and you've been taught. Now, sometimes we take that to extremes. Some people are just scared of everything. However, I'm not one of those dudes. I'm not typically afraid. So if I am afraid, there's probably some bad shit going down somewhere, and there's a reason to go.
Your radar.
Let's divert now. Let's move on.
Yeah. Well, it's also, you know, I think God gives us intuition, discernment of the spirits as a gift in the Bible. Having that discernment.
Well, just discernment, period.
Yeah.
Look around.
Well, the spirits are what you're discerning, but as a father, you're like, not going to take my kids through that. May not be anything, but just in case, I'm going to just go this way.
In fairness, I'm probably not taking my kids to a bike rally. I don't know if you've been to any of those with me, but
I'm in any circumstance.
That's not where I'm taking the kids.
You go downtown now, you got to get around some sketchy situations every now and then.
I'm not taking my kids downtown right now either.
It's a different downtown, that's for sure.
Wait, you just went and saw Smashing Pumpkins the other day with one of your kids.
That was in Franklin. That's not downtown. You've been to Franklin?
that wasn't. Franklin's completely different.
Anyway.
Even the homeless people got more money than me there.
There's homeless people in Franklin?
Yeah, probably.
I've never seen one.
Apparently.
All I know is the other day, a guy asked me, he's like, hey, can you spare some change?
They live in West Haven.
I don't carry a whole lot of cash ever, so the guy asked me if I could spare some change. I'm like, man, I don't have any cash. He goes, you can Venmo me on my iPhone 14. I'm like, wait a second, you got a better iPhone than me?
Right.
Hey, you're homeless?
It's strange.
Are you really homeless?
What we got here?
Provide them idols with artificial beauty and use them as examples of what it is to look perfect so that they are never content with their own appearance and can't help but to compare themselves amongst each other. Create addictive digital platforms that rank them by numbers so that they base their self-worth off of the amount of followers that they have and are never satisfied.
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, like, those last two, the way that we look at our celebrities, right? I mean, we're not even that big of celebrities, bro. Like, we're very, very small on the celebrity totem pole.
Do you think I'm a celebrity?
And you know you are because you still watch the way people will respond to you. I mean, on the celebrity totem pole, Vinny and I are about as low as you could possibly be. But you get hired for a gig. You get hired for a gig, and the way people will respond to you is like you are the biggest crap ever. And if you say anything about that you're not that big, like, you're the biggest celebrity we know. Like, they're real quick. Like, it's so amazing how powerful that celebrity card is.
Yeah.
I mean, people that have way more money, way more success than you, they still want to be your friend for some reason.
You've been celebrity by association.
Oh, yeah, dude, absolutely.
Like, you know Blake Shelton? Oh, my gosh, you're so famous.
Absolutely. But, I mean, like, what she's saying there and showing all those celebrities that they were running through, like, how much are we listening to our celebrities and what they think about every little thing
More than ever now.
Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
I mean, and then that second half of that about the social media and being judged on a daily basis, I feel so sorry for my kids.
My thing is like, I can enjoy a celebrity's talents and literally can disagree with them on everything.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of the modern age kid, whatever that celebrity says, they identify so much with that they're like, no, that's the way it is because Taylor Swift said so, or The Rock said so, or whoever. I can literally be like, yeah, I love that guy's talent.
We give the kids a bad rep, but I don't think it's really kids. I think society
kids.
right now. It's just society in general.
But you know,
well, I can't like Kid Rock because he said this, or I love Kid Rock and only Kid Rock because he said this. You know, like, he shot some Bud Light cans. He's my favorite ever.
He's drinking Bud Light again, though, right?
Is he?
I don't know.
That'd be really funny.
He got caught with a Bud Light can.
I mean, if he likes what he likes.
Oh, no, but it's just funny because like, he took such a major stance against Bud Light. Like, anyway, I mean, I remember like when
he still had to pay for all that beer he blew.
When we were kids,
Tannerite.
The Dixie Chicks talked smack about Bush.
Yeah. She said they were ashamed he was from Texas.
Yeah, something like that. And then there was like these bonfires breaking out all over the country, and they were throwing Dixie Chick CDs in there. And
I'm like, I wish people would buy my CDs just to burn them.
Dude, it was like, what are you accomplishing by this? Like, and second of all, like, maybe I don't agree with their statements, but the music's still good, bro. Like,
they were phenomenal. Blake Chansey produced it upright, you know.
Yeah. Anyway,
Autumn went to their concert a couple weeks ago, like a month or two ago here locally.
Yeah.
Nashville.
Well, they're just the chicks now.
Still political.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very.
They left.
Very.
It was so political. They left.
Yeah. Well, I think for me, it's like, I love, like, Top Gun, the new
Little
Top Gun.
Baby Ducks and old
pickup
trucks.
Little Baby Ducks, old pickup trucks, and good times with my friends. And you. No. I enjoy entertainment. And the last thing I want when I'm at entertainment is to get a political agenda.
Especially when he's watching male strippers. Male strippers that
I think
are
he
political.
said whale strippers.
Whale strippers.
You ought to see that Orca Zorka. No, but what I'm saying is like, I can still appreciate somebody's talent. You know, look at Mary Morris right now. I don't agree with anything this girl says or does.
Oh, she's a phenomenal singer, though.
But I love her music. She's had a lot of songs that I've loved. I've enjoyed it. You know, she wants to leave country music now. She's been offended, or she's scared of going to the CMA Awards. I'm like, listen, I ain't never got that.
It's pretty scary.
Yeah, I know.
A lot to be scared of.
I was like, listen, I've got to go to the CMA Awards once or twice, but never as like an actual guest of the CMAs. So if you want to give me those tickets, I'll take them, you know. But it's incredible to me to be like, you have to force your agenda so hard down somebody's throat.
He's gotten tickled at so many things
when he does
that they want you to choke on it. No, but I just really I enjoy the entertainment. Like when I went and seen Top Gun Maverick, I was like, please don't have it. And it was just so great to go see a movie that as far as I could tell, no, maybe there was hidden stuff, but as far as I could tell, it was just a movie about fighter pilots and a story about a guy that lost his dad and they had this animosity towards this one. I was like, it was just a story and it was great. And there was none of that. I enjoy going to, you know, I love now that comedy's been opened back up to where a comedian can be funny and he can make fun of this politician or that celebrity or this whatever, you know, whatever it is. They can be comedians. Like that's what they're supposed to do.
They're just doing it anyway.
No, they can because
Dave Chappelle was like, nah, man, you can't cancel me. And all the other comedians were like, oh, I guess we can't be canceled.
Yeah, Dave kind of led the charge.
Dave led the charge. Matt Rife came in and said, hold my beer.
Yeah. But no. Yeah, no, it's just, I'm glad that that's back. I'm glad that that's a thing that we're looking at now and saying, look, people can make fun of other people If it's done in jest and it's done in, I'm not telling you to go out in the middle of the street and walk up to somebody and start calling them a name or making fun of them. But if you're going to a comedy show where his job is to take extremes of things and make you laugh, enjoy it, And so I love that. For the most part, I see that coming back around in entertainment. Obviously, there's these entertainers that for some reason have dubbed themselves the ethics police, and they're going to tell everybody what they should and shouldn't do, what shot they should or shouldn't take, or what concert they should or shouldn't do, and what day they should be allowed to do whatever, And hopefully that's coming to an end because
I don't know if it is or if it's not, but I think that if we start ignoring it, then it kind of goes away regardless. Yeah. If I don't pay it any attention, it didn't happen. But so I know we're wrapping up here, so anybody watching this,
anybody.
You're not going to piss us off, but I am. And genuinely, I want to know what people think about the stuff that we're talking about. You don't have to come after us. I just want to know what you think. But you can come after us because we don't care.
Yeah.
In all honesty, try to piss us off. It's not going to work. It's not going to work at all.
Well, I think we're always open to. I want to hear what you got to say.
Yeah, I'm curious.
I'm good with the debate. I'm good with the conversation. I don't want you to come and try and attack me or fight me because
Just go home and do the dishes, okay?
Now I will. I'll go
do the dishes.
I will throw a little plug out there though. Is that there's a new show that comes out tomorrow? I sent you guys.
Yes,
and I'm super excited to see it because I'm pretty sure it might explain the three of us in that show. Have you? Did you watch that?
What's it called? Old Dads.
Old Dads.
Old Dads.
Did you send this to Bill?
It's got Bill Burr as the lead role in it. It's on a Netflix special, but it's
called
a series.
Old Dads, and they're trying to learn how to fit into society now with having 5-year-old kids, and they're 50 years old.
He said something about.
I'm gonna have to go back and
I can't remember what it was. It was like, why are you talking to your kid like that? He goes, because I'm not raising pussies. I just laughed, dude. I'm like, because it literally sounded like he was talking to him like the way we all got talked to. It was like, I probably don't want to do that again. And obviously I walk a fine line between what is okay and then
I think the scene you're talking about specifically was a kid fell over they were playing ball and he fell over and he scratched his arm and the guy was like, you better put some Neosporin on that and blah 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 blah. He was like, rub some dirt on it.
He goes, oh, they could get infected. Why are you talking to him like that? Because I'm not raising pussy. It literally, I cannot wait to watch it. Please be as good as I think it is.
Yeah, but it starts it ought to be out when this comes out, but which also still tells me there's so many people that relate to the way that we're thinking because, first of all, Bill Burr is still famous. The end. Only Bill Burr is still famous. Yeah. Dave Chappelle's still famous.
Yeah.
There's clearly a lot of people that relate to this.
Just to get back to the end thing, as I know we got to wrap up here, but at the end she said we tell everybody they got a trend and they got to have these certain numbers to be successful in life, and we put them on this number basis. We've talked about social media quite a bit before. And I continue to see that. And with this new artist I'm working with, I can just tell already the mental abuse he puts himself through based on losing followers or gaining followers based on any circumstance that happens. And I hope that as a society of young kids and this generation that's coming up, that they can learn that their worth is not made on that computer screen or in that how many likes they get. Just because people, they may not even have seen it. It may not be they don't like you. The algorithm may not even let them see what you did.
Well, dude, and I think that was a hard one for people like us, that you come off of TV and you're hitting that algorithm hard and you don't understand what it is, and then all of a sudden it stops.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you start losing followers, all these changes, and you're like, you think that whatever you're saying isn't good enough anymore. You have no idea that people just aren't even seeing your post anymore.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. You got 30, 40, 50,000 people at your disposal, and only 300 of them actually see it. And those aren't even people that actually knew you or liked you really in any way. It's crazy. But
speaking of that, last night
we're putting self-worth.
26,000 views on our thing last night.
Do you feel good about yourself now?
No, because I really wanted 28.
Well, I'm really excited to see the whole video.
Oh, we didn't make an entire video. We just made clips for TikTok.
Yeah. TikTok.
He's actually going to post part of the video, and if people want to see the rest of the video, then we'll run out and make it.
I told that story the other day. I was talking about you about that with these girls I met with today about the artist I'm going to work with, and I was talking about you. I said, yeah, see, my buddy Jared is he's this super talented guy. He's a great singer and a great songwriter, and he had to deal with Sony when he was 21 years old, and he's written with the best of the best. And I said he was on the first season of The Voice. I said, then TikTok came out. He goes, and he was the first one ever pointed out to me because I was just like, oh, yeah, they got this new song they're thinking about doing. He goes, Vinny, they just played the song and lip sync to the song. You think they didn't record the rest of it? They just went in there and recorded a verse and chorus.
Someone wrote a verse and a chorus and they went, let's take this to the studio and recorded it. It was like, if people like it, we'll do the rest of it.
Yeah, that's what I say. They'll hold you hostage. Now, if I get 1,400 likes on this one, I will release the entire. I'll go and record the rest of the song.
I would just like to
see. Like, what are you, Paul Harvey?
I want to see. I haven't tracked it down, but I want to see how many people don't get that many likes and they still release the song.
All of them. They know the date that song's coming out. It's already predestined into Spotify before that everything came out.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, on one of the next episodes coming up, I need you to bring your guitar.
Got it.
And I need you to bring your book.
Got it.
Okay? Because eventually my book's going to be in, and I want to talk about the book, and I can't talk about my book if you haven't talked about your book yet.
We'll just have a whole book day. Do you have a book?
Ooh, could that be the episode we bring little Emma back in?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be a good one for Emma, where you have your book.
Yeah. I think it's a beautiful thing.
She's been begging to come back.
Did we just become best friends?
No, we already were.
A long time, yeah.
We already were.
So, with that being said, guys, we want you to know the opinions of this video are ours. And if you don't like it, that's okay. You can still have your opinion. We don't care. We love you anyways, no matter what your opinion is. Unless you're a pedophile, then we don't like you. So,
we're going to lose our entire pedophile fan base, Vinny.
I'm okay with that. Even the ones that are secretly hiding in the background somewhere. But here's what I want to say. We love you. We want to hear your opinions. If you're watching this, don't be afraid to comment on it. Talk to us about it. Let's have a conversation. Maybe you want to come and be on the podcast and have a whole conversation about it. We're open to all that. So I hope you're having a good time. Like, share, give us 5 stars. If you hate it, turn it off and don't give us anything. But we're still just give us 5 stars and just don't watch anymore. Whatever you want to do. We appreciate y'all watching. We love y'all. This is the Refined Life Podcast. I'm Big Vinny. It's Jeff Suter. Jared Blake. I whisper his name.